Honorable Minister of Environment.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Ministers, Press, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. An update on our disinfection exercise. Let me start by announcing, Mr. Chairman, that from now on, we plan to disinfect this hall on a daily basis just to improve the environmental quality of the hall and also to maintain good indoor air quality. Currently, at the airport here at Nnamdi Azikiwe, there is a flight of essential items that has just flown in, and items will be delivered here in Abuja, and our officers are there, will decontaminate and disinfect this shipment before it's distributed to wherever it is going to be. And then the same airplane is going to Lagos. We have our officers there at standby to also do the same for the cargo for Lagos, and finally disinfect the aircraft itself. An update here in Abuja, we have mapped out 96 facilities and places to disinfect. I'm happy to report to you that we have already done 88 out of that 96, and we have just 8 to go. And then we plan to sit and map out other places that we can now go and disinfect again. My second comment today is on environmental health concerns at isolation centers, treatment centers. Yesterday we were in Lagos, and of course they did a fantastic job putting their isolation treatment centers in place. They have all the necessary, all the bells and whistles. We checked what needs to be done environmentally to contain any opportunistic pathogens that are still lingering. Just because we are focused on corona does not mean there are no other concerns. And that was our concern, and that has been taken care of. So we plan to also do the same with all other isolation centers, treatment centers, to make sure that we have a most effective sanitary system in the area, waste management and everything, especially medical waste in particular in these areas will be something that will be highly dangerous. So we want to make sure any isolation treatment centers around the country, the Federal Minister of Environment will keep track of how the solid waste, everything is being managed there properly. Also, I mentioned air quality, the same thing with to make sure that air is flowing the way it should. Yesterday, when we saw what we saw in Lagos, they kind of retrofitted their air conditioners so that they are not projecting too much directly on the hall, on the people. That's something innovative. We will look at how that can be done in other places that will again improve the quality of the air within. Also, water supply. This is an issue of sanitation. Isolation centers, treatment centers must have adequate water supply. Whether they are hooked to the main or whatever the case may be, there should be reservoirs, a reservoir that will make sure there is continuous flow of good potable water in that area. Also, power supply. Because you cannot just depend on the normal grid. We have to have supplementary power supply in these places, because you cannot have isolation centers or treatment centers with epileptic power supply, which will create an environmental hazard. We also want to make sure, again, the Federal Minister of Environment, there's an emergency containment plan in any of the treatment centers around. Lagos has done great in all this, and we believe can be a model for some other states to follow. But the Minister of Environment will be there every step of the way to make sure that these isolation centers, treatment centers are kept in the best environmental quality, again, to stop any opportunistic pathogens that might crop up to cause additional problems. At this point, we don't need anything as we are dealing with this deadly virus. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have now come to the question and answer phase of this briefing. Again, I must emphasize that, please, we intend to make this national briefing 1 hour at the maximum. Your questions should just go direct, no preambles, no foundations laid. And please don't present more than one question, so that we can give opportunity to everybody who everyone that desires to ask questions. So you have your numbers. We'll take 1 to 10. Number 1.
Good evening, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Honorable Ministers, the boss, NCDC, and my colleagues. My question is, most Nigerians feel that